record system. I know the photo exists. I don't know where it is. Um, or and I can remember doing that, and that's pretty much how I that's pretty much how I was about music when I was a kid, and it's still true. I'm not like really naked all the time whenever I listen to the music, but it's like I'm sitting in front of a record player with a bunch of albums, and I'm just putting the albums on, listening to music that I like to listen to. How I got those albums, my brother was in a Columbia music club, and the Columbia Music Club was advertised to everybody that for 1 penny you could get um, all for pennies you could get all of your favorite music. What they didn't tell you is that they were charging you $4.50 shipping for every single LP that you would order. Um, it cost pennies for the item, but it was costing $4.50 for shipping. You know, per album, which is really just lying to you. And they could have said, "Well, we're going to charge you $4.50 complete for every single LP record you buy, or even the ones you don't buy. We're going to send you what we think you should be listening to whenever you fail to pick the ones that you're going to." And so I don't know if it was $4.50 per album or if it was the complete shipping of the albums that was $4.50, but it was something like that. It's like you were getting the overage of all of the plastic waffles. It's that's a Todd Rundgren reference in one of his songs. Is uh, um, li- let's see, what was the lyric? It was like. Uh, Imagine something so awful as a man who lives off, lives, a man who works to sell a plastic waffle. And imagine something so awful as a man who's living just to sell a plastic waffle or something. And so the idea is that, um, let's see if this is done. No, they're still out. I put out a expedition for some Cynthium. I can find out what I think it's not even the day yet. And so let's see where it's at. Okay, so hit the. It is at 12. In 12 hours, I'll have it. So I'll have 150 Cynthium. I think it's 150. Maybe it's 300. It's 150 Cynthium, and is it? It is 300 Cynthium, isn't it? Let's go and check. You can buy a lot with it. 300 Cynthium. Okay. So it's 150 Uraxium to get 100. They call it an expedition, but I wouldn't call it an expedition if you went out and you're going to collect. Maybe an expedition that they're going to a mine and they're going to collect 150 Cynthium. That's probably what expedition means, is they're going through the logistics process of collecting that much stuff together, and you're paying for the logistics. You're not paying. It isn't that it's being discovered; it's that it's known where it is. They're going through the process of finding of getting it for you. So until they're back from that, you won't have it. What I use Cynthium for is if you have 75 Cynthium and 15 polysterite, then you can make an orbital, which is basically a nuke. You could come up with an explanation of why you need that to create an orbital. It's probably something like an atomic bomb, where in order for the atomic bomb to be effective, you have to have a shell made of plastic explosive to keep the shells of uranium together, the metal hemispheres, where you're trying to just pressure the uranium until the atomic reaction gets out of hand, and when it breaks loose, it pretty much obliterates every atom around it, and that's what causes the chain reaction, is the excitement and crazy power of all these atoms just blowing apart, just pushing down the domino effect of what would happen if a, a, tremendous amount of energy got released somewhere. The energy comes in the form of something that's just knocking around too hard that all the particles get excited. And when particles get excited, it's what we call radiation. Um, it they radiate, they start to move around themselves, and rather than retaining their orientation, regardless, they end up all flying all over the place. It obliterates matter, and every people cease to exist because every particle in their body decides that it wants to go someplace other than where it's magnetically associated at that point in time. Rather than being at rest, it ends up wanting to go places. That's the reason why people can't exist where there is a high amount of power and radiation, is because the particles in their bodies don't want to be there. You know, and when things vibrate, when things oscillate, when particles oscillate and vibrate, they produce heat. That's the effect of being heated up, as they're being excited. Particles are being excited. That's the I think the definition of radiation is that's the effect. That's what happens. Is they just end up shaking and wanting to get away. And then in case of a nuclear bomb, those particles have so much energy that they're hitting all the particles, and all those particles are hitting particles, and it creates a chain reaction. That's the chain reaction. That's the idea, is that the energy get dissipated from one particle. It's like on a pool table hitting a ball so hard that all the balls that are on the pool table cease to be on the pool table, and they end up flying at such a speed that they end up hitting balls on other pool tables, and those balls go flying off, you know, because there was so much energy pushed into that one ball, or pushed into those balls. But if you can imagine, you know, potentially destroying an atom, by making it go so fast, how that would even be possible. Um, so, this is a clip.